Hello and welcome to High Velocity Copywriting. This is Roy Furr, and I'm excited to be diving in here with you on your next BTMS Insiders training. This video is going to be a quick introduction into the different aspects of high velocity copywriting and what you can expect from this program. So without any further ado, let's answer the big question. What is high velocity copywriting? It starts with the fundamental promise. The fundamental promise of this program is that I am going to teach you, I'm going to hand you on a silver platter speed secrets and shortcuts to write better copy faster. So this isn't just about writing faster, this is about writing better copy, copy that generates more response, copy that's more compelling, copy that gets your market moving and doing that faster, cranking out more in less time. The big secret to all of this is in knowing what works across industries, what works across markets, what works across media. So that's understanding the underlying principles, the underlying strategies, the underlying techniques, so that when you go out into your current situation, whatever industry you're in, whatever market you're in, whatever client you're working for, whatever media you're writing for, it's about understanding how those different principles, strategies, and techniques apply on the tactical level when you actually sit down to write. And so what I'm going to give you is the underlying structure of an effective, persuasive message, regardless of where you're going to be writing for. So it could be a video sales letter. It could be a sales letter that's going to be presented on a web page. It could be a sales letter that's going to go out in the mail, or copy that goes out in a different direct mail format, such as a magalog or a book log. It could be almost any kind of copy that you're going to put out there. Basically, the one unifying principle is that if you are writing copy specifically to generate an action, to get somebody to respond, then the principles that I'm going to teach you, the underlying structure that I'm going to teach you, is going to apply. And once you understand this, once you understand the underlying structure of an effective persuasive message, it becomes way easier to crank out better copy faster. So it's not just, again, it's not just about being able to write faster. It's about being able to write better and faster. Do it faster. The question that we may ask, and maybe it's obvious to you already, but I still have to address it up front. Why? Why would you do this? Why would you focus on speed and getting copy out to market quickly? Well, in short, the answer is that when you write more, you're going to sell more. And if you are a freelance copywriter, we can be talking more projects. So let's say, for example, that you charge $10,000 a project, and you are you are currently able to crank out 6 projects a year. Well, in fees alone, that means that you are generating $60,000 in project fees this year. We're not even getting to royalties or pay for performance yet. That's a different training. But if you're able to crank out 6 different projects, then you are generating $60,000 a year. Now, if you're able to bump that up to 8 projects, 10 projects, 12 projects, suddenly, without regardless of how well the copy performs, just on fees alone, suddenly you bumped up to $80,000, $100,000, $120,000 per year. So simply by doing more projects, you're going to increase your income. Plus, if you followed the copywriting royalties and pay for performance training, you also know how to structure deals in such a way that each of those projects can also generate royalties for you. And the more projects that you're putting out there, the more royalties you can generate. If you are writing for yourself or for a client, or if you are a full-time copywriter inside a business, still this is going to benefit you even if you're on salary, because simply by putting more campaigns out in the marketplace, you are able to generate more sales results, and by creating more value for yourself, for your business, for your market, you are able to generate more income. Also, this is really important. because oftentimes we will find that in testing one approach versus another, you could easily double the response of a campaign. And so if you're able to put more tests out in the market, even if you're just writing for your own business, if you're able to consistently put more tests out into the market, you will find that you are able to consistently learn more about what works. You're able to find new things that work better than what you were doing before. And it all comes back to just being able to consistently crank out persuasive messages, which is what high velocity copywriting is all about. Now, also, I'll state that it's not really just optional anymore, that high velocity copywriting, being able to write quickly, has become necessary. And it starts with the speed of communication. In the direct mail days, a decade or two ago, it took a good couple weeks before a campaign would go out and be read by the market and start to generate response. Today, if you could write a new sales letter every single day and put it out into the market, then your market would be able to respond to that and be able to give you information about what's working and what's not. Because today communication is pretty much instantaneous. And for that reason, the more that you're able to generate, the more you are able to get all of this learning and get all of this response in a very quick way. And this is not a trend that is going to reverse. This is a trend that is really just going to continue. And so there is a huge advantage to anybody who is nimble and quick and able to get able to get messages out into the marketplace as quickly as possible. With that, there is also an increased speed of market awareness. So a great example of this would be recently in the financial newsletter space. One of the hot topics has been Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And as soon as one financial publisher put out a Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency promotion, suddenly you were dealing with a market that was hungry for this information and that wanted more marketing and wanted more content and wanted more information on the topic. And with that, if you were not able to immediately turn around and put a promotion into the marketplace, you suffered. And so having a high speed of market awareness demands that you are able to write copy quicker, such that you're able to stay on top of the 24-hour news feed and ever-changing topics that your market is interested in. Speed of testing. This is very related to what's come before, but basically today, you can put a campaign out into the marketplace, and depending on your budget, you can get information about its effectiveness within 24 hours, within 24 minutes in some cases. So it is very easy to test things quickly. So the quicker that you're able to generate the content that you are testing, the persuasive messages that you're testing, the more you benefit. Now, with all of this comes a big downside, a big negative. You may have heard of ad fatigue, and in the traditional print media days, you could often run the same ad for months, years, and this would be considered a control. And you could run that for an extended period of time and consistently generate similar results. Now, with the way that media works today, the speed of communication, it seems to be working that the length of time that any given message can remain a control continues to collapse. And this isn't just in the financial markets where the market conditions are changing so fast, so consistently. This is in every market that prospects see your ad and they very quickly become blind to it. And so the performance fatigues the performance of your advertising. So those are reasons why this has become necessary today, let's talk about what high velocity copywriting is really about. Pretty simply, high velocity copywriting is about getting really good at a few things. It's not about mastering a ton of different copywriting formulas or anything like that. It's about really focusing on what's important, what moves the needle, what matters, and getting good at that. And mostly this involves understanding plug and play copy ideas and structure, the underlying structure and ideas that make really great copy, such that as you are going through your market, as you're considering the different messages that you can use, you're going to recognize, oh, that works really well within the context of XYZ, big idea. And I'm able to use that in this way. So suddenly my promotion basically writes itself. Also going to cover tips for speed and productivity. So this is not just about what you're writing. I have one video especially dedicated to productivity tips to help you be a better, faster writer. And we'll go into that. So what you're not going to find in my presentation of high velocity copywriting. You're not going to find traditional swiping. I know that other people, when they teach here's how to write fast, they give you, 50 headline formulas and they say, okay, just write a variation on each of these and figure out which one works best. And then that's your headline. And then here's a lead, and here's the this, and here's the that, and just copy and paste all those things in. Ultimately, copy and paste copywriting strategies don't work. And so what I'm going to be talking about here is the kind of high velocity copywriting that A-list copywriters use in markets where if you swipe and you turn in a swiped package to a client, you're going to get run out of town. I'll tell you, there was one client that I was working for in kind of an interim copy chief role. And this client had me reach out and potentially, and try to hire a few copywriters to help build out their copywriting team. And so I put out a call for spec assignments. I asked over a dozen copywriters to write a headline and lead for one of our products. And one copywriter in particular turned in this copy that it was interesting because there was some really powerful language in it, but the message seemed kind of pieced together, piecemeal, and it really just wasn't working for me. But there was just something about the wording and the language that sounded familiar. And so I started Googling different phrases and sentences out of the copy. And what I found was that there were a number of packages from really top copywriters, folks like Clayton Makepeace and Gary Bencivenga, who basically this copywriter had copied and pasted whole sections, whole chunks of copy into his document with maybe tiny edits here and there. But what ended up happening was it didn't really feel, because he focused so heavily on swiping and not on figuring out the message that was going to resonate with the target market, it did not feel like a copy that actually spoke about the market conditions today, that spoke about who I was as the prospect for the advertisement. And instead, it sounded like a bunch of really good words and phrases and sentences just kind of mashed together. And for that reason, I had to stop it there because I knew that that would not work with the market. And if you focus on traditional swiping, I know that there are some smart copywriters out there who are able to use swiping strategies really effectively, but that's because they understand this fundamental thinking first and apply the fundamental thinking to making very significant edits, using the swiping as a bad first draft and editing away from that until it doesn't quite read like anything that you've ever read before, and it reads like it's a message directly to the core target market. So I'm not going to teach you traditional swiping. I'm not going to teach you copy and paste copywriting. Now, who can use this? Who is this for? First off, this is for copywriters who need to get response in any market. And that's probably the core audience for this particular training is anybody who is putting together persuasive messages. If you're doing it for your clients, if you're doing it for yourself, your own business, if you're a copywriter and you need to get response in any market, this is for you. It's also for copy chiefs who need to give copywriters the big idea for a promotion and an outline of what needs to be said. I will tell you that most of the situations that I've been in where there's been a copy chief who works with junior copywriters to really crank out a lot of highly effective copy, what's happening in those situations is that the copy chief is working together with the junior copywriter to really nail down the idea that is going to work for that promotion. And then the copy chief will flesh out that idea just a little bit such that the junior copywriter could go off and start writing it. And then also the copy chief will really help that junior copywriter lay out the outline, the persuasive structure of the message. And when that junior copywriter follows that persuasive structure, when they really speak to that initial big idea and follow along in the way that the copy chief wanted the sales argument structured, then that junior copywriter is able to consistently create big winners. And so if you're a copy chief, I absolutely recommend that you use this in such a way that you are helping your junior copywriters structure their selling messages so that even their first draft will be based on very sound, fundamental, highly persuasive selling principles. And then really anyone who needs to structure a persuasive message in any media. So again, you could be a public speaker, you could do webinars, you could do video sales letters, you could do podcast presentations, you could do whatever. If you need to structure persuasive messages in any media, understanding the principles and strategies and techniques that I teach in high velocity copywriting will help you do that more effectively. Now, here's what we are going to cover throughout this training, and really this maps to the videos that are to come. Number one, we're going to cover high velocity productivity strategies. So these are the productivity strategies involved in writing, and they form kind of a foundation for everything that we eventually talk about in terms of specific writing strategies and techniques and principles. We're going to talk about finding your high velocity message. This is the big idea that makes up the core of your persuasive presentation. We're going to talk about structuring your presentation, how you actually lay out that outline before you even really start to write, and how you build the solid foundation for a presentation that will generate response and create conversions. We're going to talk about grabbing attention. This is how you open up the selling conversation, how you start by connecting with your prospects and presenting your big idea. We're going to talk about building interest and desire. This is the core of your persuasive message, such that before you even really get to presenting your offer, your prospects are going to be prone to respond to whatever to take whatever action you ask them to take. We're going to talk about stimulating action, and this is where we actually get into how you present an offer. We're going to talk about copy elements that work. Now, once we've talked about the structure, this is the various pieces that you can plug and play throughout your copywriting to make it even more effective. We're going to talk about how to structure an order form. We're going to talk about what that needs to say and how it will convert. We're going to talk about email copy. So there are some specific techniques, strategies that will lead to more effective email copy. We're going to talk about lead generation copy. So we're going to talk about all these different types of copy, all these different applications of copy, such that you are able to consistently generate this high velocity copywriting. So you're able to write better copy faster in all of the most common areas of direct response copywriting. Plus, you're going to be getting principles and strategies and techniques that are going to work and be able to be applied in different environments, different selling environments, different media, different messaging requirements. One thing that I want to remind you to use is the questions, and there's within the BTMS Insiders website, there is a Q&A functionality. You see it on the left-hand side of the desktop player. It's in the menu, and you can ask questions about anything related to high velocity copywriting and get them answered. And also, I encourage you to leave a review. You can leave a star review and leave comments to help other people who may decide if they want to learn high velocity copywriting, whether or not this training will be for them. So I strongly recommend you use those functionalities within the website. All right, so again, this has been the introduction to high velocity copywriting, and I look forward to diving into the next training with you here in a moment in the next video. Thank you.